Firing an employee can be one of the most difficult procedures to handle as an employer. The employee has invested a lot of time and effort into the company and usually doesn't feel that he or she deserves to be fired. There might not be a perfect way to fire an employee, but there is a right and a wrong way to go about this process.
M. Heathos 10 Don'ts When You Fire an Employee. She states a few key things on not what to do when firing an employee. Firstly, don't fire an employee unless you are meeting face to face. Do not fire an employee using any electronic method. No emails, instant messages, voicemails, or phone calls. Even a letter is inappropriate when you fire an employee. When you fire an employee, give them the courtesy that you would extend to any human being. They deserve a face-to-face meeting when you fire an employee. Nothing else works. Also, don't fire an employee without any warning. Nothing makes an employee angrier than feeling blindsided when fired. Unless an immediate egregious act occurs, the employee should experience coaching and performance feedback over time. Before you fire an employee, try to determine what is causing the employee to fail.
George Zimmer, the CEO and founder of Men's Wearhouse, was fired in 2013 over email. Firing him over email guaranteed that he would not leave the company on good terms, especially since he'd been working at the company for over 40 years. He also claimed to have been abruptly fired right before the company's annual stockholders meeting. He should have had more of a heads up, and there should have been a meeting in which he was fired face to face. In the case of a founder of a company being fired, the company should show the utmost respect when releasing him. Also, you shouldn't fire an employee without a witness. Especially in the United States, anyone can sue anybody at any time for any reason. In employment termination cases, the employee has to find a lawyer who believes he can win the case and thus collect his fee. The best practice is to include a second employee in the meeting when you fire an employee. This witness is often the human resources staff person. The HR person has more experience than the average manager in firing employees and can also help keep a discussion on track and moving towards completion.
Also, when firing someone, just keep it short. Go somewhere private and then lead with the punchline. For example, I have some bad news for you. Today is your last day here. Then state the reason for termination in one simple sentence. And most importantly, show compassion. Firing may be a difficult chore for you, but for the person who's being fired, it's downright traumatic. So empathize. Offer to be helpful. If you genuinely believe that someone is a good person who has talents and abilities that could be useful somewhere else, tell them that you're very happy to provide a reference or offer to make introductions.
Many state and federal laws govern employment, and not every termination is legal and enforceable. Most U.S. states, including California, consider employment at will, and therefore you may quit or be fired for any reason or even no reason at all. However, there are several ways in which the termination would be illegal. The first of which is if the termination is in violation of anti-discrimination laws. This termination would be illegal if it was due to a protected characteristic like age, gender, race, religion, national origin, or disability. Furthermore, most states have laws protecting sexual orientation, gender identity, and immigration status. Next, the termination would be illegal if it was in violation of contractual obligations. If an employment contract was signed and is therefore enforceable, then the employer must abide by the terms of the contract. Next, if it is in retaliation to whistleblowing or failure to perform illegal acts. Most states protect employees against employer retaliation for reporting illegal or unethical behavior or even refusing to commit illegal acts. And finally, taking protected time off. Federal and state laws protect taking unpaid time off for various things like medical leave, military service, or jury duty. And there are damages for wrongful termination. These damages can include back pay, reinstatement, compensatory damages, injunctive relief, punitive damages, and attorney's fees.
Some principles to remember are that you should enlist HR and show compassion for the employee that you're firing. Some things that you shouldn't do are delay in terminating a poorly performing worker or fire an employee without a coworker as a witness. Thanks for watching, and I hope you can apply these tips when you're firing all of your employees.